On the Thursday, July 24th, episode of The Young and the Restless, Nick's situation took a turn for the worse. Victor and Chance caught Carter in a lie, and Audra and Kyle had another showdown. Audra ran into Kyle in the maze of shrubbery. She asked to speak to him, but Kyle wasn't interested. He dressed her down, telling her she was facing defeat. Audra maintained that she only sought comfort from Kyle because of Damien's death. Kyle wasn't buying it. He felt that Audra wanted to get him into bed. Audra proclaimed she wasn't attracted to Kyle and couldn't believe she ever was. Audra couldn't see why they couldn't go on, as if nothing had ever happened. Kyle said he was ready to move on from the game Audra was playing. "I've been on to you from the start," Kyle said. Kyle said that when Victor stops worrying about Nick, he'll put an end to Audra and Vibrante. Audra countered that Kyle verbally attacking Victor will only prompt him to back Vibrante even more. She accused Kyle of projecting, claiming he wanted more from her than she was willing to give. "You always cheated on Claire with me, didn't you?" Audra accused Kyle of doing. She added that Victor might be right in wanting to keep Claire and Kyle apart. Kyle said he wouldn't stop trying to be a better man for Claire. Audra said that wouldn't work, as he has hurt the people he claimed to love time and time again. Audra said that she kissed Kyle, but he kissed her back. "You couldn't resist me," Audra said. He asked her if she was trying to seduce him again. Audra wondered how Claire would feel about finding out what went down. In turn, Kyle wondered how Nate would react. Kyle told Audra she didn't love anyone else but herself. Kyle said he would have left long ago had there been a way to leave. Kyle declared that there was no way he and Claire weren't going to make it. He advised her not to come to him looking for comfort ever again. Audra informed Kyle that he'd messed with the wrong person. Kyle said Audra had nothing. Audra countered that if that were true, then she had nothing to lose, and that made her dangerous. In their train cabin, Diane asked Jack about a book he was reading. He said the tome was about character assassination and manufactured scandal. Diane wasn't surprised to find such a book on Kane's estate. Jack said he was trying to kill time. Diane couldn't believe Audra made a deal with Victor to seduce Kyle, especially as she has something going on with Nate. Jack pointed out that Victor's money was a big draw. He hoped that Kyle would make the right choice. Jack confessed to Diane that he was worried about his brother Billy. Jack said that ever since Jill sold Chancellor to Victor, Billy has been obsessed with getting it back. Diane said Jack had a right to be firm with Billy. Jack said he honestly believed that Billy had learned his lesson and was moving forward with Abbott Communications. Jack said he thought it might be best for him to sell his interest in the company. "Trying to help someone who does not want help is a fool's errand," Jack noted. Diane observed that if Jack walks, then Billy can't blame him if and when something goes wrong. The senior Abbott theorized that Billy needs someone else. Diane asked if Jack was considering severing ties with Billy. Jack said that he needed to find a way to accept Billy as the man he was. Jack said they were like kids in a playground, with Jack always rescuing Billy. The big brother theorized that he's a factor in holding Billy back. Jack wondered if he had to get out of the way. Jack had a black and white flashback to an argument with Billy over Victor, Chancellor Industries, and Billy's obsession. Billy said he could feel that Jack wanted out of their deal for Jack to finance Abbott Communications. Back to the present, Diane consoled Jack over feeling bad about Billy. She suggested Jack take a step back and give Billy some space. Jack said it could be his fatal flaw to always come back to try to save the day. Billy came upon Kane in the courtyard. Kane said he's dropped the Aristotle Dumas persona. Billy shared that he admired Kane's empire. Kane said he has no ill will towards Billy. In turn, Billy thanked Kane and called him brother. Kane pointed out it had been a while since anyone called him brother. Kane said he had invited Jill, but she sent her regrets. Billy revealed he wasn't sure what his mom was thinking today. Kane surmised that Billy was upset over how things went down at Chancellor Industries. Billy brought up Abbott Communications and asked if Kane wanted to buy out Jack. Billy said he'd lost confidence in Jack. Billy said that while he and Jack were actual brothers, he and Kane felt more like genuine brothers. Kane agreed that there's an opportunity in Abbott Communications based on the numbers Billy sent him. Kane said he was in no place to make a handshake deal. Billy said he knew there was evidence leaning towards Nick, and he'd been locked up. Billy wondered why Kane didn't take the way the Newman family feels about him into account. Kane said his focus was on the safety of his guests. He told Billy he'd let him know in the future when he was ready to talk business. In the main train cabin, Carter gave Chance the dinner menu. Chance said he had questions, but not about the menu. He wanted to talk about Damien's murder. Carter deflected and advised Chance to talk to Nick. He repeated that he'd gone to bed before Damien's murder. Chance said that the groundskeeper relayed to him that Carter approached the groundskeeper about Damien's death. Carter said that the groundskeeper was mistaken. Victor appeared and asked if Carter was trying to protect Kane. Carter attempted to leave, but Victor stopped him. He said he's worked for Kane for 2 years. Victor said Carter would protect Kane no matter what. Chance added that Carter might go so far as to frame an innocent man. Victor corrected Carter that Dumas's true name is Kane Ashby and that criminals use aliases. Carter said he is Kane's right-hand man. Victor pointed out that Kane lied to Carter. "I owe my life to Mr. Dumas," Carter told Victor and Chance. Victor wondered if Carter would go to jail for that. Carter started to leave. Victor stopped Carter by telling him that someone saw him plant the bloody knife in Nick's sleeping compartment. Carter accused Victor of grasping. Victor asked Carter what his devotion to Kane would prompt him to do. Carter said that Kane rescued him from being destitute, but that didn't mean Carter was guilty of anything they were accusing him of doing. Carter said whoever saw him place the knife under Nick's sink was lying. "We never said that knife was found under the sink," Chance pointed out. Carter suggested that either Chance or Victor mentioned the knife being found underneath Nick's sink. Victor and Chance said that wasn't the case. Then Kane entered and asked to speak to Carter alone. "So you can get your stories straight?" Victor asked. Kane said it was so they could figure out who the real killer was. Sharon continued to work on the lock of the room in which she and Nick were trapped. Nick said Sharon picking a lock was a badass move. She managed to get the door open. Nick opened it only to find the big security guard on the other side. The two men fought. The guard got the better of Nick, who started to bleed. Then, Nick got control of the situation by hitting the guard with the champagne bottle, knocking him out. Nick was too injured to leave with Sharon. He urged her to go get help. Sharon said she'd be right back and exited, leaving Nick in a chair and the unconscious guard behind. Sharon came upon Billy after he'd finished talking to Kane in the maze of shrubbery. She begged Billy to come with her since Nick was badly injured. Meanwhile, Nick started to take his shirt off to examine his wound. Billy tended to Nick. He quipped that either Nick or Sharon only asked for help when one of them was locked up. Sharon assured Nick that he was going to be okay. Nick asked for help in getting up. Billy said Nick was losing too much blood. Nick started to lose consciousness. Billy said that Nick needed someone who knew more first aid than he or Sharon did. If they can't find that person, Nick might not make it. Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Normally, when one hears the phrase, "gone to the dogs," we tend to think something negative. But in this case, when referring to The Young and the Restless, it couldn't be further from the truth. Considering the CBS soap has been daytime's #1 drama for many, many years, the show has to be doing something right? And now its publicist, Matt Kane, has given us another reason to love the stars and their extended family. Sharon Case posted a video on her official Instagram that had been created by Kane and thanked him for making the adorable video for everyone involved. Set to the soap's theme song, the video didn't feature anyone from the cast, but rather their closest furry friends as their characters, including Case's pup, Andy as Sharon, Tracy E. Bregman's Fee as Lauren, Melissa Ordway's Lily as Abby, Michael Mealer's Mishka as Kyle, Amelia Heinley's Popo as Victoria, Melody Thomas Scott's Riley, as well as her cat Kashmir, as Nikki, Joshua Morrow's Roxy Blue, and Bodai as Nick, Mark Grossman's Oakley as Adam, and Melissa Claire Egan's Bailey as Chelsea. Kane, who recently lost his beloved pup Elliot, not only put a smile on the Genoa City stars' faces, but the fans were touched as well by the sweet sentiment and just thought it was the cutest work of art, and it gave us all the warm fuzzies too. Then on July 24th, the soap posted the same video on its official Instagram with a new opening and shared, "We know this is sudden, but isn't our new cast wooferful?" Now that you've met the new cast of Young and Restless, let us know in the comments which of your furry friends sit by your side as you tune in to watch the CBS soap each day. The Young and the Restless preview for the week of July 28th reveals Carter will plan to take Lily Winters hostage. Also coming up, Amanda Sinclair will tell Kane Ashby the bodies have been removed. Plus, the guests in France will be stunned when their cell service is restored. Y&R spoilers tease an explosive week ahead. It looks like Carter will admit to Kane that he killed Damian Kane. That's when Chance Chancellor will emerge from the hedges to arrest him. Unfortunately for Lily, she'll choose that moment to walk into that area of the maze. "What's happening?" she asks in the Y&R weekly preview. And Carter will pull a gun out of his pocket and grab Lily. "Whoa, whoa, whoa," Chance will say as Lily screams. He'll tell Carter to drop the weapon. "Carter, don't do this," Kane will tell his assistant. "You're going to make it worse for yourself." But Carter will ask how he can make it worse. "It was all for you, and now you want to lock me up?" He'll ask Kane, as he puts the gun to Lily's head. "I'll find my way out of here, but will he take off with Lily? Or will Kane and Chance stop him?" Meanwhile, after the dust has settled, Kane will tell Amanda contacting the authorities was the right call. He'll ask if they're still there. "They are just wrapping up. The bodies are being taken to the coroner's office," Amanda will reply. She'll add the case is closed, and he's in the clear. "Am I?" he'll ask. Finally, Sharon Newman will be stunned when Victor Newman's cell phone goes off. Then everyone's phones will start pinging with notifications. "We all have service," Sally Spectra will say. Sharon will ask why it's back now. "Because I have a feeling Kane Ashby knows he's lost," Victor will reply. "We can get the hell out of here now." Then the scene will cut to an angry Kane, furiously swiping everything off his desk. Hey Y&R fans! Are you enjoying the new CBS Sudser Beyond the Gates? Then make sure you join our free Facebook group. Keep reading the soap scoop for Young and the Restless spoilers and news. And make sure to also join our Y&R Facebook group or leave us a reply in our comments section. But if you miss an episode, don't fret. You can watch The Young and the Restless online at cbs.com. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Carter may end up dead in a final showdown after Kane Ashby helps save Lily Winters' life. Once Kane pries a murder confession out of Carter, the situation will take a wrong turn. After Chance Chancellor and Victor Newman eavesdrop on that admission of guilt, Carter will realize the jig is up. Kane may insist that Carter's loyalty went too far, and that he'll have to pay the price for his actions. Killing Damian Kane obviously crossed the line, so Chance may prepare to hold Carter until the authorities can drag him away. That's when Carter will make another bold move by pointing a gun at Lily Winters, who'll be totally caught off guard. Lily will suddenly become a hostage and fear she may not get out of this nightmare alive. Y&R spoilers say Chance and Kane will do their best to talk Carter down, but he'll become a man with nothing left to lose. Carter will fume over Kane's reaction to everything he did for his boss. Since Carter was trying to clear a romantic path for Kane and Lily's future, one without Damian as an obstacle, he'll be appalled over Kane not appreciating his twisted plan. Of course, Kane's priority will be making sure Lily stays alive and in one piece. There'll be some terrifying moments for Kane as he worries about Lily getting shot in this hostage situation. Carter will get ready to make his way through the maze with Lily in his grasp, but Kane may leap into action. It's easy to imagine Kane diving for the gun and trying to wrestle it away from Carter. That could lead to the gun going off and pumping Carter with a bullet he won't survive. Kane may save Lily and ultimately watch as a bloody Carter collapses to the ground. We know that multiple bodies will be taken to the coroner's office once Amanda Sinclair gets the authorities to the estate. Damian's corpse will be removed from the walk-in freezer, but Carter's dead body could be transported too. Kane may come to Lily's rescue, but that doesn't mean she's going to thank him for it. Lily may hold Kane responsible for everything that went down with Carter, and wish none of them had ever come to this party. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the rest of the guests will get updates on all the stunning Carter news eventually, so stay tuned. And here we thought that champagne was for happy occasions. Not always, it turns out. In the July 24th episode of The Young and the Restless, Nick used a bottle of bubbly to take a swing at the goon keeping him under house arrest, with disastrous consequences. Determined to break free, Sharon picked the lock on the door, but of course, on the other side of it awaited a guard the size of a wall. Nick tried to fight the guy and, how to put it, failed. Badly. He even tried to KO Carter's henchman with a bottle of champagne. When all was said and done, Nick was bleeding badly, and a desperate Sharon quickly retrieved Billy to perform first aid. Here's hoping he has better luck keeping Nick alive than any company he's ever run. Though Billy, who apparently recently binged the pit, and therefore is full of medical knowledge, did his best to patch Nick up. He told Sharon that her former spouse needed medical help, stat. Even if Sharon hiked down the mountain, she'd never make it back in time to save Nick, Billy reckoned. But is this really the end for Joshua Morrow's long-running alter ego? Doubtful. As the actor told Soaps.com, when reflecting on his early days in Genoa City, Victor and Nikki's son is obviously a cornerstone of the show, and a huge part of this main family. I mean, some longevity was sort of baked into it. Assuming staying long-term was what I wanted to do, and was responsible, and showed up on time and was efficient, he continued, I could stay as long as I wanted pretty much. Thankfully, there are no indications that Morrow has a yen to move on. As he's told us, I couldn't want to be famous less, and for all intents and purposes, I'm not. Nobody cares what I do in this town. There are far, far more people who are way more famous and interesting, so I can live my life and not have to worry about that. So this is an incredible way to provide for my family, to make a great living and to be in a job that is very fulfilling, that lets me work with incredible people, he added. It's really been just like the Powerball of jobs as far as I'm concerned. Kyle has one-upped Audra in their cat and mouse game on The Young and the Restless. The Abbott heir seduced Audra to trick her into revealing her plot with Victor. However, some fans were uncomfortable with Kyle's actions and questioned if he went too far. Kyle didn't go all the way in his seduction of Audra. The two engaged in a makeout session, complete with a kiss. It was enough to bust Audra and Victor's scheme. While Kyle is happy with how his plan worked, some are questioning whether he was unfaithful to Claire. Although he and Audra did nothing more than kiss, some consider the lip lock to be cheating. On a soap opera forum, Y&R fans believe that Kyle cheated on Claire by kissing Audra. I know just kissing is different, but it's still cheating in my book. It completely violates the other partner's trust. I would not be very forgiving about my man kissing on another woman at all, wrote one viewer. Yes, kissing is cheating, especially so passionately, one fan responded. I have to side with the folks that are calling what Kyle is doing cheating. He has gone too far. He's kissed Audra, visited with her while she was in her nightie, entertained her in his towel, and spent plenty of time alone with her in the maze, another viewer replied. Kyle's kiss with Audra might come back to haunt him. Audra and Victor will use this as leverage to break up Kyle and Claire. When Claire learns about the kiss, she'll be devastated. Even if Kyle explains the circumstances, it'll be hard for Claire to forgive him. With Kyle in danger of losing Claire and his money, he'll probably regret his kiss with Audra. Could Sharon be responsible for Damien's death? The search for Damien's killer continues on The Young and the Restless. Fans have chimed in with their theories on the murderer. The latest suspect is beloved heroine Sharon. Sharon has a history of being involved in murders and cover-ups. Last year, she was arrested for Heather's murder. However, charges were dropped after it was revealed Jordan and Ian were responsible for Heather's death. Although Sharon would never intentionally kill someone, fans aren't so sure. On Reddit, a new Y&R fan theory points to Sharon being Damien's killer. One fan offered clues as to why they think Sharon is guilty. The killer was wearing dark clothing and had small hands, just like Sharon. Sharon was in a dark outfit when she disappeared before Damien's murder. While it's an interesting theory, it's drawn mixed reactions from other fans. A few agree that Sharon could be the killer. Sharon was the first one to come to mind for me too, one viewer wrote. I hate to say it, you're probably right. But geez, not another Sharon murder, declared one user. However, most people believe that Sharon isn't Damien's killer. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal a preview clip has been released for the week of July 28th, 2025. The party guests will get service back and plan to Zoom immediately. Meanwhile, Amanda Sinclair says the bodies need to be transported to the coroner's office. Then, the lawyer assures Kane Ashby that he's cleared, but he's not so sure about that. Keep reading and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Let's start from the very beginning of the preview clip. Carter pulls out a gun and takes Lily Winters hostage. As Lily screams, "What's happening?" Kane and Chance Chancellor try to stop Carter. The detective tries to reason with the villain, but it doesn't do much good. Then, Kane tries to work his magic on Carter by telling him he's just making things worse for himself. That is when Carter replies, "How could things be worse? I did it all for you and now you want to lock me up? I'll find my way out of here." Over in Kane's office, he sits with a serious and troubled look on his face. Amanda comes in, and Kane assures her that she made the right decision. The lawyer reports that they are just wrapping up, and the bodies need to be taken to the coroner's office. That's right, bodies as in plural. Amanda adds that the case is pretty much closed, and Kane is in the clear. However, Kane looks at Amanda and says doubtfully, "Am I?" The Young and the Restless spoilers for next week reveal that Nikki Newman sits next to a wincing Nick Newman. Victor Newman, Sally Spectra, and Sharon Newman are in the train with them. Suddenly, a phone can be heard. It's Victor's, so he grabs it to look at it. As Sharon and Sally wonder what's going on, they discover everyone has service. Sharon wants to know why now, but Victor suggests they get the hell out of there pronto. There is also a scene that shows Kane alone in his office. Suddenly, he takes his arm and in one giant sweep, knocks everything to the floor. Kane is full of rage, but what is his next move? Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of July 28th, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. In the sun-drenched hills of southern France, a storm is brewing beneath the polished veneer of wine tastings and coastal opulence. The sudden, violent stabbing of Damien Kane inside Kane Ashby's lavish villa has shattered the illusion of a sophisticated getaway, exposing a disturbing undercurrent of malice and manipulation that threatens to consume Genoa City's most powerful families. The scene itself was chilling. Blood on the marble floor, a shattered glass of bourbon, and an open window suggesting a hasty escape. For Kane, the shock was palpable. But even more unsettling was how quickly the finger of blame pointed squarely at Nick Newman. With only blurry footage, circumstantial whispers, and a history of impulsive decisions shadowing his every move, Nick became the perfect suspect. Meanwhile, Kane's elusive assistant, Carter, whose behavior had grown increasingly erratic, became an immediate person of interest, though his convenient presence feels orchestrated, part of a much larger, more sinister game. As Victor Newman pressures French authorities and Sharon stands by a bewildered Nick, a more explosive rumor has begun to spread like wildfire. Colin Atkinson, Kane's father, who was long presumed dead, may be alive. The name alone sends shivers down the spine of anyone who remembers the chaos he left in his wake. In the world of daytime drama, death is rarely permanent, and the quiet recasting of Kane suddenly reopens the door for his manipulative father's return. If Colin is alive, then the entire tragedy takes on a new shade of suspicion. This wasn't just a random stabbing. There is growing talk of a sexual assault cover-up, a sickening parallel thread suggesting Damien was on the verge of exposing a buried scandal involving a powerful figure. The question is no longer just who stabbed Damien, but what truth they were trying to silence. For a man like Colin, this presents the perfect opportunity. Eliminating Damien would protect Kane's potential reunion with Lily, while framing Nick would be a masterstroke of psychological warfare. A twisted attack on his hated rival, Victor Newman, and the entire Newman legacy, with multiple threads converging: Damien's murder, Nick's frame-up, the potential return of a sociopathic mastermind, and the buried history of a sexual assault. The Young and the Restless is preparing for an emotional detonation. The audience is no longer asking if someone will be exposed. They are asking who will survive the fallout. In this grand chessboard of power, vengeance, and secrets, the next move could either save a family or destroy it forever. Lives are at risk in the current plot of The Young and the Restless as central characters rally together to save themselves. The Newmans and the Abbotts have been guests at Kane's estate in Nice, along with some others from their hometown. The upcoming episode on July 25th, 2025, will find Nick in a fight for survival as his mother gets ready to give up her career to save her son. The previous episodes of The Young and the Restless saw Dumas expose himself as Kane Ashby. He reached out to Lily for a reunion. However, Lily rejected him and declared her feelings for Damien. Meanwhile, Victor refused Kane's offer of collaboration. However, Kane's mysterious maze game took a sinister turn when Damien was stabbed to death. While Lily pointed her finger at Kane, citing jealousy, Kane declared that he was the prime target, calling Damien a mistaken collateral. After the murder weapon was retrieved from Nick's room, Kane put Nick and Sharon under house arrest. Nick's escape plan left him severely injured in the current storyline of the long-running CBS daily soap. As Thursday's episode, dated July 24, 2025, showed, Nick Newman picked a fight with the security guard posted at the door of his arrest room. While he managed to overpower the guard, Nick was left with a bleeding gash on the side of his torso. Sharon got Billy to help. The next episode will find Billy rushing out to look for more help. As Nick is losing blood fast, he has a faint pulse. Billy will likely employ Sally's help, who has basic knowledge of first aid. Sally may clean Nick's wound and bandage him up with tea bags and salt. Nick will be barely conscious enough to thank Sally. However, Sally and Billy will all agree that he needs urgent medical care. As such, they may help Sharon move the injured Newman to his train car. Eventually, the rest of the Young and the Restless characters will learn about the disaster soon. Since learning about Nick's house arrest, Nikki has been worried about her son. As such, when Lauren arrives in her car to meet her, Nikki will share her opinion with her. She may wonder whether Kane is targeting Nick to get Chancellor. As such, the Young and the Restless fans may find her considering handing over the company to Kane Ashby. Despite Lauren's resistance, Nikki will likely announce her decision to Amanda. She may ask the lawyer to draw up papers for the transfer of ownership and ensure Nick's freedom. When Lauren points out that Victor will be furious at her decision, she may emphasize her sacrifice as a mother. After finding him in interrogation, Kane will instruct Carter to wait for him at the bar. Meanwhile, the billionaire will express his displeasure about Victor and Chance interrogating his staff alone. Kane will hash out various options with Victor. Meanwhile, on The Young and the Restless, Carter will await his boss's arrival at the bar. He will meet Amanda there, and the two will discuss their employer. As he informs the lawyer about his interrogation, he may point out that their boss is too soft-hearted to murder Damien Kane. When Lily walks into the area, Carter will feel free to share the same opinion with her. He may ask her to give Kane another chance at a relationship. However, a disgusted Lily will walk away just as Kane comes in. Alone together, Kane will likely question Carter about planting the knife and having access to the alcohol stash and the security footage. In response, Carter may avoid giving a direct answer. He may become eloquent about his loyalty towards his employer and everything he owes to his boss. Suspecting that Carter may have killed Damien to make way for his romance to flourish, Kane will possibly let the loyalty card play. He may try to gain Carter's trust before pushing for the truth. Meanwhile, Victor and Chance will likely hang just out of sight to find out what Carter says. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest Victor will eventually take control of the situation at Kane's estate. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Kyle Abbott will face some horror as cell service returns. Claire Newman's Cole Howard revelation will hit hard, so let's talk about how things will go down during the week of July 28th to August 1st. Y&R fans know Kyle and all the other guests have been stranded without a cell signal for what feels like forever. Other than Kane Ashby and Amanda Sinclair, everyone's been cut off from the outside world. Of course, Kyle has missed Claire terribly and will be eager to get some updates on Cole's condition. Since Claire's dad was ultimately transferred back to Memorial, Kyle will assume he's going to get some good news about Cole's recovery. However, Kyle will face a stunning blow once Kane finally fixes the cell service situation. Between all Claire's voicemails and unanswered texts, it won't take Kyle long to realize Cole's health took a nosedive and resulted in his death. Once Kyle gets over the shock, he'll immediately grow concerned about how Claire's been coping without him. Kyle will no doubt wish he'd just stayed home and been there for Claire instead of coming on this trip to play games with Audra Charles. Although Kyle was feeling smug and victorious after calling out Audra's seduction scheme, that suddenly won't matter much in this moment. After cell service is back on, Kyle's priority will be getting in touch with Claire and offering comfort. Kyle will also want to express remorse for coming on this trip and being so far away when Claire was at a low point. You can bet Kyle will feel guilty, especially if Claire admits part of her thought he'd sensed that she needed him and come back sooner. Naturally, Kyle will explain that he's been stuck on a mountain without cell service all this time. Claire should be in for a shock of her own when she hears about Damien Kane's murder and all the other chaos that's been playing out in Nice. Kyle may hold off on telling Claire about his big gotcha moment with Audra and how she was trying to seduce him because of Victor Newman's breakup plot. Maybe Kyle will determine that it'd be cruel to pile anything else on Claire right now when she's already grieving such a great loss. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest there'll be time for Audra-related curveballs later, but Kyle may call Claire back and focus on consoling her over Cole's demise for now. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, July 28th reveal that Amanda Sinclair will call the cops while Kane Ashby panics over the danger Lily Winters suddenly lands in. Nikki Newman also seems poised to get a last-minute rescue from a mistake, so here's what Y&R fans can expect. For starters, Carter will face the string of betrayal. After Kane makes Carter feel safe enough to confess to Damien Kane's murder, Carter will discover his boss wants him in prison. Since Victor Newman and Chance Chancellor will be listening in on Carter's admission, Carter will lose it and accuse Kane of setting a trap. It'll become obvious that there's no way out of this for Carter, so he'll decide to take drastic action. Carter will eventually whip out a gun and aim it at Lily's head. That'll send Kane into panic mode along with Chance. But Carter will insist on using Lily as a hostage to make his way off the property. Of course, Carter won't get very far. This storyline is building to an exciting climax that'll most likely end with Carter suffering a fatal gunshot wound. Lily will hopefully come out of this unscathed, but Carter may join Damien when it comes to the little corpse club that's forming in Nice. Amanda will get updates on all the chaos that's erupting and summon the police, so it won't be long until they take over the investigation. As for the Chancellor deal Amanda's been trying to make with Nikki, that may be off the table as well. Whether Victor stops Nikki or she sees wounded Nick on his way to the train, Nikki may pump the brakes on trading Chancellor for her son's freedom. Regardless, the Young and the Restless spoilers say Nikki will flip out over the news that Nick's been seriously hurt, so stay tuned for her alarmed reaction. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Nick Newman was placed with Sharon Newman in her latest captivity story. This feels like a continuation of what is arguably a 3-year comeback arc. Ray Rosalise was killed 3 years ago in the spring, dying in a car crash. That made Sharon a widow, with Nick the obvious choice as her next romance, if not her returned husband. Sharon has made it known in recent months that she is interested in exploring a reconciliation with Nick. He apparently rejected that effort when he said that he's hurt her too often. Yet, this latest storyline implies that Sharon's reunion instinct may still win out. In this segment of Sharon's hostage trilogy, she was a witness to Nick being gashed by Kane Ashby's enforcer. Case's character was facing a strange third period of captivity, which must have some logical endgame. Why would the writing staff purposefully put Sharon in 3 consecutive, generally similar scenarios? Nick's appreciation for Sharon has increased exponentially through each event, with the current crisis seeing his life in grave danger. Sharon's finding of Billy Abbott in the maze also must have some intended outcome. Billy took charge of Nick's bleed-out, calming a shocked Sharon. He helped temporarily aid Nick's life during a self-appointed medical diagnosis and called for immediate help to be gained. However, Victor Newman won't forgive Billy Boy, even though Thompson's character will play a key role in helping to save Nick's life. But Kane might come to believe that he owes Billy something for preventing another tragedy at his estate during what has become a summer vacation disaster of epic proportions. Sally Spectra is believed to provide needed medical aid. Who knew that Hope's character possessed that skill set and could deliver it in a true emergency? Of course, she is Billy's latest romantic interest. So, this makes general soapy sense in a very wild tale that serves as Y&R's summer location story that is taking place on a soundstage with Kane's property serving as the backdrop. Nick didn't have to take Sharon with him to France, but he did, which reinforces their permanent tie. If Vila Suzo's character hadn't been sadly killed off, Kane would have invited him, not Chance. In that scenario, Sharon might have been Ray's +1, but Sharon's single status and desire to try another reconciliation attempt fit what's still developing in France. Many storylines have converged in the Kane recast tale. One of them includes the legitimate hope that one of this show's greatest couples, Sharon and Nick, are being written back together. The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease that fans can expect to witness a character experiencing a triple heartbreak while another character deals with a rejection regarding moving in together. Additionally, some alluring ex-lovers will clash, so let's discuss the significant plot twists that are on the horizon. To begin with, Nate Hastings is set to endure 3 rounds of heartbreak as he faces some difficult challenges. First, the devastating news about Damian Kane's unfortunate fate. Unfortunately, Nate's heart will break again when he has to inform Amy Lewis that Damian is gone for good. Since Nate has come to see Amy as a mother figure, it will be painful to witness her suffering. Nate's heart will break once more when he eventually learns about Audra Charles nearly getting intimate with Kyle Abbott. Audra has been concealing the details of her seduction arrangement with Victor Newman, so Nate will feel betrayed when he hears about Audra's readiness to jeopardize their relationship for Vibrante. Even though Kyle plans to move in with Claire Newman and confront Victor as soon as he returns home, things might not unfold as he hopes. To begin with, Claire is mourning Cole Howard and might hesitate to move out while Victoria Newman is also grieving. This alone could be a significant reason for Claire to postpone her move-in with Kyle more. And there could be another factor that makes Claire reconsider if Kyle reveals that Audra's attempted seduction. Claire likely won't be pleased with Kyle for the situation he created, especially if she learns it involved a passionate makeout session and him just wearing a towel. Ultimately, Kyle could face a rejection for moving in, and possibly even a breakup if he can't turn this situation around to his advantage as he had hoped. We should also discuss some past lovers who might become tempting in the upcoming months on Y&R. Once Audra parts ways with Nate, could that create a chance for Holden Novak to rekindle his romance with his ex? Holden has always been on the lookout for a moment to reignite his relationship with Audra, so it's likely they could end up back in bed together at some point, even if just for one night. Regarding Nate and Victoria, they might face some temptation in their future as well. Victoria's sorrow and Nate's breakup drama could lead to a reunion that surprises them both. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, July 25th reveal some major moments as fans head into the weekend. Someone takes control of a situation while another suffers from a medical emergency, and a character is backed into a corner. What's set to unravel during Friday's show? Time to find out. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, July 25th suggest that Victor Newman will take control of a situation, and if this has anything to do with Kane Ashby refusing to allow his Genoa City guests to leave his summer home, it's about time someone takes matters into their own hands. Victor will likely learn about Nick Newman's injury, so he'll have had enough of playing games and be ready to take action. But will Victor be able to make the progress needed when it comes to finally leaving Kane's French chateau? Speaking of Nick, he will be in dire need of medical attention, and Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott will jump into action to help him. Neither are doctors. However, they'll do all they can with the knowledge they have to help poor Nick. Will Kane be alerted to this situation? Does he have a doctor somewhere on staff? Will Nick be okay? Only time will tell. As Nick fights for his life, The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday note that his mom, Nikki Newman, will be backed into a corner by someone. Who will be the one to do so? As Nick and Sharon Newman escaped their house arrest, will Carter corner Nikki and possibly hold her as hostage to ensure no one leaves the premises? Could Kane corner the Newman matriarch? Fans will have to tune in to find out. What's even harder is that after he learns about what happened to his half-brother, Nate has to share the bad news with Amy. And the brutal way Damien went out is something that will utterly devastate the woman who's already suffering from cancer. No mother should have to deal with something like this. Meanwhile, nice was not so nice for Jack and Billy. Billy decided to unload all responsibility for Abbott communication onto Sally while he concentrates on teaming up with Kane to go after Chancellor, even though the two never talked about it until this last week. And even then, Kane said he would think about it. This whole business had Jack thinking about cutting the cord with Billy and letting him succeed or fail on his own. Maybe his presence in Billy's life is detrimental to the man. So look for Jack to make a sacrifice for Billy by the end of next week. It looks like Adam and Victoria are about to solidify their latest detente. Yes, Victoria and Adam call a truce, which is great since lately they have been downright nice and empathetic towards each other. While Victor, Nikki, and Nick were in France, the two found that they were able to have civil conversations, and Adam had compassion for what Victoria was going through with Cole. Meanwhile, Victoria saw that Adam had their families back as he took care of the company while the rest of the Newmans were walking through mazes. It had to help that he climbed up and down a mountain for the family as well, right? Obviously, things between Kyle and Audra are in a horrible place. It doesn't look like that's going to end anytime soon. There may even be an escalation next week when Kyle and Audra's power struggle takes a dangerous turn. By dangerous, do they mean physically, or is this something more along the lines of psychologically or metaphorically? And why is it that Jack and Diane need to worry about Kyle shortly after whatever this happens? Unsurprisingly, things get complicated for Nick and Sharon. The two spent a ton of time together in Nice, including being locked up together against their will. So what does complicated mean between these two? Could these two be inching closer to a reunion? Finally, Daniel is skeptical of Phyllis's latest plan, presumably because it involves Kane Ashby. Daniel probably thinks that nothing could get worse than his mom working with Billy Abbott, and now she's trying to hitch her wagon to Kane. Did Phyllis's plans change based on what happened in France? What plan is she going with?